Hello, welcome to this playthrough of Elden Ring, where I will be in the co-pilot seat and Branwell will be driving. This is a lore playthrough, and in every video there will be spoilers, because this is intended as a vehicle for Branwyn to explain her theories on the lore of the setting. So if you'd rather develop your own theories without being influenced by other people's, or don't want to be surprised on some of the deep lore of the game, this is not a straight playthrough of just playing gameplay focused. This is a lore focused playthrough. So you might want to give this a pass if you want to avoid big spoilers. With that said, I hope you enjoy the video. And we're back.
Welcome back, everyone. We're doing the lore Let's Play of Elden Ring. I'm here with Thryth.
Hello, me just checked to make sure my mic isn't muted.
Yep. And I'm about to take on the Guardian of the DLC. Do we want to go into the Kill of the First Flame, or should I start the fight?
Go ahead and start with the Kill of the First Flame, because we just talked about that.
Yeah.
If we
Right.
pause now...
If we sandbag it, people might riot, yeah. So, why is the Kiln of the First Flame named the Kiln of the First Flame? What was the purpose of the Kiln of the First Flame? So, for this,
Go on.
my idea about this is that we need to go back to Demon Souls.
Okay.
Demon Souls is all about the creature called the Old One, which is a massive tree-like worm that exists in some sort of space underneath the hub world, the Nexus.
Okay.
And Demon Souls is all about pacifying the Old One so that it will go back to sleep and stop creating the demons, basically. The story of
reasonable. That's a reasonable desire.
The story of the Old One is that it's a receptacle of souls. It draws all of the souls in to itself from everything that dies.
Oh, so like the player character.
Yes. So it can... I personally think it's sort of part of the spiritual ecosystem of the world. It's because it also... the religious types in Demon Souls believe that it creates demons to punish sin in the world.
Okay.
Or something to that effect. So it uses the souls that it gathers and gifts them to certain people, and that turns them into monsters because like we see, we buff ourselves up into the stratosphere,
right?
But for other people, it makes them grow wings, and we've seen the misbegotten who have horns growing out, creatures who have horns growing out of them that shouldn't have horns, all of that sort of stuff.
Right. We're able to digest it easier.
Yeah, something about us means that we don't monster out as we gain levels, or maybe we're just not gaining enough levels.
I am reminded a little bit of the post 50 stuff in City of Heroes, the Incarnate system, because they decided to appeal to the end game crowd rather than the casual crowd. But I mean, they appeal to both. But anyway, the in-universe thing is that there is a thing called the Well of the fates, the well of, I think the well is actually is refers to something in Greek myth, and I can't remember, well of the Furies, but that is just one access point for what is the overall the well. A lot of different legendary things will give you an access point to it, and it is a
Mm.
collective of like the will of life in this universe to advance.
Yeah.
It isn't real, it is sapient in some way, and it likes forcing people to do things to push that advancement.
Mm.
It is all about ambition. It is attracted to and draws in people of ambition, good, bad, or
Ah,
otherwise.
yeah, because so you are getting the point of the old one
Yeah, and,
as well there.
yeah, and the player characters, the incarnate system is you're going into that stuff, but there's two ways to get into becoming an incarnate. One is the fast way, where you find like a legendary artifact or site or whatever, and you grab on to a mold or a formula that was created before you. And
Mm.
so, like, Statesman has become Zeus.
Yeah.
And weirdly, each successive person that takes a earlier template is stronger, but they have the same weaknesses as the people that came before, so it's known how to
Mm.
kill them.
Yeah.
The
Mm-hmm.
player characters are forced.
Uh,
Yeah, sorry.
yeah.
This is the
Oh,
last.
so no, you go. Yeah,
Yeah.
you do your thing.
The player characters are forced to take the slow route, which is gather power bit by bit, slowly over time, basically by fighting things of high enough power.
Mm.
And if you go the fast route, the well can take control of you when it wants to.
Mm.
If you go the slow route, nope. Also, if you go the slow route, you're making your own legend, and there's no
Yeah.
clear way to kill you.
Mm. Sorry, what was this from?
This is City
Again?
of Heroes. This is the end
Oh,
game
right.
stuff in City of Heroes, which
Interesting, because
they
there,
they shut
I'm,
down. Go on.
yeah, there are a lot of elements from that kind of apply to the old one,
Okay.
because Demon Souls is all about the King Alant abusing the old one's ability to create demons to empower people and everything. In Demon Souls, they learn, the mages and things learn a craft called the Soul Arts, which is what lets them use the souls and the power of the power in the old one, which is souls, to, level up, basically.
Right.
But leveling up like that turns you into a demon in the eyes of the church, so that's bad, right?
Right. Right.
Or whether or not that's bad is up to interpretation, because in various games, what they call demons in Demon Souls is gods, demigods, and things like that in other games and societies and everything. So whether or not using the soul arts is good or bad depends on the prevailing opinion in the world. However, so
Okay. Got it.
the old one acts very much like the Erd Tree in this game. The Erd Tree draws in souls into itself, which is why it's all golden and shining and everything. And it is the method of reincarnation in this world as well. You know, people get buried in the roots of the world tree so that of the Erd Tree, so that it can draw their souls in. And that seems to be the function. It's a cycle of life and death sort of thing going on.
Or as close to death as you can get in this world. Yeah.
Yeah, because we took out the rune of death from the way this world works, so nobody can die. So what happens to your souls?
So
Well, what happened?
yeah,
Yeah.
in our frame of mind, what that means is nobody here is really immortal. They've just been denied an access point to a substantial part of metaphysical nature, life
Yeah.
cycle.
Yes. Now, I was talking about the kiln of the first flame.
Right. Sorry.
What I think is that the old one is referred to as the crucible in this game,
Okay.
and it became the Erd tree maybe as part of its own life cycle, like maybe like fungus or the little slimes that they sort of they serpent their way along places, and then eventually they turn into little fungus things that look like trees, except they have spores at the top rather than leaves. Um, Only
Cute.
like these, they're tiny in our world. If this is, if the old one and the Erd tree are the same sort of thing, and it's a cycle of like, it draws in all of these souls. Eventually, it gathers enough souls, it turns into the Erd tree, and then eventually spreads the seeds that we've been gathering. And those big Erd trees are going to turn into little old ones eventually.
And then they
Um,
propagate on to other realities, and the cycle
yeah,
continues. Okay.
exactly.
It doesn't. It As far as old ones go and eldritch abominations, it is
Mm,
surprisingly non hostile to the life forms in the individual worlds.
yeah, yeah. It is just part of the natural cycle, but it's very cosmic horror too,
Yeah.
because the greatest gods, deities, and everything in the Cthulhu mythos are also just parts of the natural cycle. They are embodiments of rules.
Yeah.
The cosmic horror is a lot of we don't care about you.
It is just
Um,
slightly less. It is substantially less inimical, actually, than Cthulhu.
yes. Oh, yes.
Yeah.
No, Cthulhu is more of one of the abusers than of magic than
Yeah, he's a high.
a natural part of the cycle.
It's a high priest. That's right.
Yeah.
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 Okay.
So, okay. If the Erd trees are arch trees,
Right.
this is where I think this becomes interesting. So, why is it a kiln? I think that a lot of what you see at the start of Dark Souls is propaganda.
Right.
Um,
The whole thing about the chosen undead, the undead asylum.
Going back further, Gwyn was not Gwyn and the gods of that race were not the first beings created in the universe. They were not the first humans. They weren't the first anything. I think that the Dark Souls world is a post Demon Souls going all the way back to Kingsfield. I think they hit a point where there was an apocalypse and everything on the surface, like the surface was uninhabitable. Maybe it was because the dragons took over, and all of the inhabitants that wanted to survive went deep underground, because they mentioned that Gwyn and the rest of Gwyn's people come up from underground to fight the dragons.
Indeed.
And they just say, oh, we were just created down there. And it's like, no, they weren't just created down there. They are the descendants of the people who went under the earth to escape the dragon, the rule of the dragons. Then the old one turns into an Erd tree. Or an Erd tree / arch tree.
Right.
They ascend again. there's, more like maybe the dragons have calmed down a bit or something, and maybe there's a bit more space for people to exist on the surface, at least in small, bands or whatever. And eventually, Gwyn and the rest of his posse, the Witch of Izalith, the Nito, and probably, they talk to Seath and get Seath on side. And they burn the Erd tree by building the kiln of the first flame at the base.
So the first flame is built out of basically the accumulated souls of an old one that they burned down.
Yes. And as well as but when they burnt it, they found the first flame and didn't realize there was also the dark soul. Because there is a dark and light side to both of, like, the god of this world is sort of two beings. There's the you have the Erd tree sort of cycle, and then you have the dark sort of cycle of the old one, where the light is absorbed by the dark, and then the dark distributes it to the earth, and it goes back up into the Erd tree and continues,
Right.
It continues this big cycle. So this cycle of creation and destruction.
You know what?
And the god of creation and the god of destruction are a big deal in From Software games.
Yep. You know, we've talked about how the gods are horrible in these games.
Yeah.
It occurs to me, like, that a lot of the old ones aren't really, except by accident. Like, from what I understand, in Bloodborne, the old ones are trying to help people and just don't know how to do it.
The old ones in Bloodborne, their big problem is that they want children. And they can't have children by themselves, so they need mortal surrogates. But they can't communicate with mortals because it's like us trying to communicate with ants. It's just not, it doesn't vibe. It just doesn't work. There's no shared language there.
Got it. Or no shared perspective, even.
But yeah, no shared perspective, whatever.
Yeah.
So they just the evil there is that they just do it. Which is why some of the things in Bloodborne happen. But like in Bloodborne, it's more like we're livestock to them, or something like that. We're not, they don't really think about us as living, feeling, sentient beings, which is where the bad stuff in Bloodborne comes.
Right.
So the thing is, there is nothing in the games to say that the kiln of the first flame was caused by Gwyn and the others and the race of gods deliberately blowing up an archtree. Nothing says that outright. This is conjecture from the fact that it's named a kiln. A kiln is something you deliberately fire up.
It is like a not a blast furnace, but it is a furnace for producing bricks and pottery and stuff.
Yeah, I don't think you could argue that the flame existed and the kiln is there to keep it going, and that's the idea, is we're sending people in to sacrifice themselves, and that's the fuel that we're sending in to keep the first flame going. But that's also not what a kiln is.
And we're getting close to the end of a second video and all
Yeah,
talk.
I know. I know.
It's fun. No, it's fun because this is what the series is
there
for.
is so much, like, and the other half of why I think that the kiln and blowing up and creating the first flame was blowing up an arch tree was deliberately done, is because burning an Erd tree, or the creation of the first flame, is referred to as the original sin in this game and in Dark Souls 2 in
Wow.
particular.
Yeah.
The cardinal sin is burning an arch tree, or is the creation of the first flame, or burning an Erd tree.
Okay.
Um,
And I'm going to bring up
Yeah.
one more comparison that has been occurring to me. The whole thing
Yeah.
of people in succession setting, metaphorically, or setting themselves on fire to become, or actually no, literally setting themselves on fire to keep the world going is very Aztec.
Yes, very much. And you can see that influence in a lot of the tablets around. Once we go through here, there's like an Aztec style calendar sitting around.
Interesting. I wasn't sure if I was going to be off base on that. It was just like,
No.
it's because there's a whole lot of like people willingly sacrificing themselves to keep the world going, and it
Or
not quite going right.
or being tricked into it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
All
We're
right.
at 21 minutes, so I think we're gonna do.
Okay.
We have talked ourselves out, people.
Yeah. Okay. Let me do one run on this boss and see if I can do it first time.
Cool. Kiko defeated Gwyn in his first run.
Oh yeah, Gwyn's not hard.
Oh, that looks like big spider egg.
Mm-hmm.
That's an arm. This is not happiness.
No, it is not.
Dearest Mikola, you must abide alone a while. Welcome, honored guest, to the birthplace of our dynasty.
That was an interesting cutscene.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that.
Oh, wings.
As it turns out, no. Close,
Yep.
but no.
Yep. I saw that. I was like, oh, I thought you were going to do it, and then like I saw the blood wave come in.
Yeah, no. I need to get to the I need to drink the flask. So before we came here, I changed over my flask to use the tier that we got from Eleonora that its sole job is to wipe out those marks that he creates before he hits phase 2 and does a whole bunch of bleed damage and a whole bunch of self-heal off of our bleed damage.
Got it. Oh.
Yeah, so
Anyway. that,
yeah,
that was a thing.
now the subtext of the cutscene there is that he has turned into blood and is quote unquote lying in or attempting to join with Mikola.
Yeah, I got that feeling. Ugh.
Yeah. Yeah, so Mikola so we know Moog kidnapped Mikola. We know Mikola was trapped in a child body, but apparently whatever they've done has mutated them into the big gross arm thing. Whether the grossness is deliberate or not, we don't know. Now, Moog... so Moog's complicated because we learn in the DLC that Moog was charmed by Mikola into being obsessed with him. The thing is, we don't know when Mikola used his charm on Moog. And we don't know, because if it was after he got kidnapped, obviously Moog, still a bad guy.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of people go on about, Moog's beaten the allegations, he was charmed by Mikola, which means it's not his fault, he's so skeezy. He lives in a...
There's also, the whole thing of victim blaming. There was a lot of, in history of, they were charmed into doing it to excuse why they assaulted somebody.
Yeah, that being said, he was literally charmed. Okay. That is Mikola's big ability, is his ability to charm people. However, Moog lives in a sea of blood.
Yeah.
And the way he expresses his love is attempting to do whatever he's doing to Mikola.
Right. Okay. We should probably go to a new video.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
yeah.
Yeah, new video.